fun video. If you've ever been to the Tom DeLonge Guitars subreddit, we've got the guy that invented it right here. Jackson, he invented the page. We are just his peons that were added to it.
Yep.
Um, but you can
Idiots.
thank him for all the fun and controversy and everything that is on that page of or subreddit of Reddit. Stefan?
Yeah. We've been trying to get, I think, the three of us on for a little bit now, and it was good that we finally were able to collaborate and get it going. This is actually pretty cool because this is just like the mods for that page on here, and we're not going to talk obviously about Reddit right now. We'll save that for a different episode. But we wanted Jackson on because if you are or you have frequented the Reddit page, you would see a lot of his builds that he has made over the years. So when Brian and I were first thinking about how this page here will look like and what we're going to do, who are we going to have on? If we do have them on, what are we going to have? And the first thing that Brian said was, well, we should have Jackson on to talk about the builds that he made. And I mean, done. Like, that was it. So for today's episode, we are going to walk through a little bit of how, I think, one of the first ones that you did and kind of the progression that you've had since, and maybe what the future might hold for any future builds. So
Yeah, I'm excited to see these guitars because it's been a while. I mean, I've probably seen them before, but like to see them in my face again, I'm excited to see them because Jackson's really good at painting and he's got a unique style. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah. So the first one.
Yeah.
So the first one, Jackson, was a 333, and already I'm sure this was all over that Reddit page, especially when I was frequenting it a lot. It was like this was the one that I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So maybe talk to us a little about this one.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, this was a beautiful accident, to be honest with you. I've always kind of dabbled in the artsy type of stuff and painting like that, and just doing things. And the fun part or the silver linings about 2020, all of us are in lockdown and everything like that. You kind of bring out your creative side just because you're so dang bored walking and pacing around the backyard and trying to look for things to do. And throughout this, I ended up buying this 333 for about $300, whenever they weren't, gouged or overpriced or anything. And the kid shipped it to me, and I think it was a box, or it was kind of like a box, it zero protection, and it had a chip in the headstock on it. Everything else was good, but it had a little chip in the headstock, and so I just stared at it and fumed at it just because the shipping was so horrible on it. But then I was like, what can I do to turn this into an art project? And so you look online, you look at a bunch of different ideas, and I think at the time Tom was doing his paint drip, guitars or whatever they were, and it was kind of just that drip paint and stuff like that. And I thought about that, but then I was like, what else could I do? I love stripes. I've always loved, the stripes on guitars, Padre behind you and everything like that. How can I incorporate outer space with it? And I had a black can of spray paint and just started taking it apart. And this is kind of what birthed the wannabe luthier side of my brain, in taking that apart, because it wasn't hard. It was just, you go for it, and you're gonna mess things up, and you're going to scratch your guitar, you're gonna strip something, or you're gonna bore out a hole or something like that. But I'm very meticulous with what I do. Ask Brian with how I do this. I mean, even annoying you guys setting up for this right here. So I just taped everything off, made sure it was all good, and laid black paint on it. And that's all it was, because I wanted to replicate Tom's 333, the black on black from Angels and Airwaves, his 2006 tour that he was on. And I did it, but I wasn't happy with it. And so I found blues, I found orange, I found white, and then I just took it out, and it was probably 4 or 5 different takes on it from there. But what you're seeing on the screen right now is kind of what it turned out to. And what I was trying to do is have like a earthy atmosphere, something going towards the light and then going into the darkness, and then have kind of the sun a little bit beaming on the bottom part of it. But yeah, I repaired the headstock on it. That was fun. Made sure everything was rocking, good to go. And the fun part about this, and probably what got me more interested in it, was meeting a guy named Kenny Patrick, who is, he's a phenomenal luthier. He can do anything and everything on guitars. He can fix guitars up and everything like that. And he was giving me free knowledge. I'd ask him questions and he would just give me the responses, straight up, how you do this, how you do that, and everything else like that. and I got to learn a lot from him just through that. But he kind of told me the ins and outs about getting this thing strung back up. And the funny part is, I had a guy message me about it. You know, how many times have y'all had guys message y'all about your guitars and stuff, wanting to buy everything? And I had a guy message me about it, just saying, "This is exactly what I've been looking for. Whatever you did, this is exactly what I've been looking for." And he's a sweetheart of a guy, genuine soul, true heart. He would check up on me during COVID, just asking if you're okay. You know, hey, how are you doing? You okay? I think he's on the East Coast. And his name is Atticus Lane, and he plays this guitar, you know, in his shows on stage with a band called, I think, Seneca Burns. And they got a pretty good sound. You know, they got a pretty good pop punk sound and stuff like that. So it's weird going from that, you know, just being in my backyard with an idea, to seeing a guy appreciate the art and take that, and now he has it on stage, you know, playing it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a long story into that journey on there.
You have a lot of great ideas. I have two questions. One, are the black stripes just electrical tape, or is that paint?
So I laid down the black paint first, and then once the black paint was done, I put painter's tape for those two stripes on there, just like you see in that one picture. You see kind of like some painter's tape up top on the fretboard and everything else like that. So yeah, I just blocked those off. Yeah, and use an X-Acto knife just to cut it. On
And
that.
then my second question is, how do you get to a point where you're satisfied? I feel like I just wouldn't be able to
You don't.
stop.
That was
You don't.
going to be my question. Yeah, like where do you, like, how do you know, like, okay, this is good, I'm going to stop, I'm going to put the paint can down?
You don't, and I mean any person with that kind of brain would tell you that. And the worst part about it is you never get satisfied until you ruin it, and then you want to throw it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you just do too much to it. And sometimes simplicity has its beauty in its own, you know, in its own.
Yeah. My favorite part
ways.
about it is that the light blue that goes across, like
Mhm.
right under the bridge. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I
Was-
love how even like the headstock is done too. Like that's, yeah, it's a
That
really,
was-
really beautiful.
That
design.
was me trying to cover up the repair, just to be honest. On that one. And I was fully open with Atticus on this one that about the headstock. And it was a chip about a quarter size from the top that I glued in, filled the hole in, and everything like that, and then painted over. But that's kind of why I did the headstock. But then I also, said why not? You know, I picked it up for $300, so
Which
one
is
of those.
crazy in itself for $300.
Well, it
Unreal.
was because it was a older version of the Epiphone. It had a brown sticker inside of it, and it had gold heart on it. That was kind of rubbing off to silver, but it was kind of, I
That's-
think, one of the older models of it.
Okay, so we start this off. You get kind of a taste for, I think, building and all that kind of stuff. So the next one you go to, you decide to do is getting into the Fender Strats.
Mhm.
So I mean, pretty recognizable Fender Strat here from Tom's green one. So talk to me about the process. First of all, what made you decide, you know what, I'm going to build one of these?
Yeah, would
So
you say that it's worth it? Would you say that the amount of money you put into it to get that guitar is worth it, or should I go on
Ooh.
eBay and pay for a TD Strat? What do you
Ooh,
think?
prices nowadays are crazy. It's up to, man, Blink fans. We're all unique in our own sense, and I don't want to offend anyone, but they're the purists that have to have every single spec down to, did he have treble bleed? Did he not have treble bleed? Or this, that, and the other? And how, what was the length of his wires underneath his pick guard and stuff like that? But I just think it's up to whoever's trying to are you trying to play it? Are you trying to collect it? Are you trying to, just have it as a trophy piece or something like that? So there's two paths that you can kind of go down for that one. But nowadays it's easier to source the parts and build them, yourself, and it's cheaper if you know how to do that, or if you know someone that can do it as well. But a lot of this is my personality. I like to just challenge myself on certain things, and I'll see someone, my fence broke 3 weeks ago, and I had a guy come out here to help me repair it, and I was out there with him, on my hands and knees digging up the thing, and because I just want to learn. It's why not? We only get one shot at life, so why not learn as much as we can while we're doing it? So with the Epiphone, I realized that I was limited. I was severely limited with what I could do. It was literally just paint it and maybe swap out the pickup or something like that, and do whatever. But with the Fenders, God, I had the first Tom DeLonge signature guitar I got was the Squire, Black Squire, back in high school. Got it, I think, off of eBay or something like that. But that thing traveled with me through high school, college, and all the way up until I let it go. I don't have it to this day, but let it go. And I remember, making little tweaks to it, changing out the volume knob or something like that, and you feel a little bit better with what pick you have,
Yeah.
with what you pick for that. And so what I started doing is I started hopping online, and that's where kind of, I know we're not here to talk about the subreddit, but that's kind of where the subreddit was created, because I wanted more knowledge, and I didn't have the knowledge, but so many other people did. And so what I wanted to do is just create a campfire, just to have a campfire, and whoever wants to sit on a log next to the campfire and talk about guitars wants to talk about guitars. It turned into a dumpster fire for a little bit, but I think it's getting back to a campfire, campfire mentality for a little bit. But that was how it was created. Ultimately, excuse me. And
so, like, if you went and bought all the parts, just as a fan, do you find it difficult to put one of these together?
That's the
is it
first.
hard to source the parts?
That's the first thing is research. So throughout my research, I would go online, and it's funny. I know, Little Red Guitars, John Poulin, he had videos out of how to build a guitar, or what he's doing with his guitars, or modifying this or that. And I remember watching his a long time ago, and I just added him as a mod to the to the subreddit or whatever, and just started picking his brain, and was fortunate enough to where he would respond to me and answer some questions. And the dude's a busy guy. A lot of people don't understand that, but he would answer me, questions, and he said, have you tried reverb? And I was like, no, I haven't tried reverb. I've been looking on eBay, or I've been trying to source, parts for certain things. And he said, have you heard of Warmoth? And I was like, no, I haven't heard of Warmoth. And so a lot of it's just taking a step back, understanding what you want, and whiteboarding it. What do I want? The hardest thing in the world is the color of your guitar, and Brian knows that the most, because how many colors have I been through for my my main guitar that I play all the time in that one. But it's just it's finding the guitar body. The neck is typically a pain in the ass if you're trying to find a Tom DeLonge signature neck, but there are different ones out there, the pricier ones that are the custom shop necks, or you can get a American made or something like that that's even better. Then there's preference on shape, on just about everything, on the finish. Is it smooth? Is it sticky? Is it fast, or anything like that?
How do you feel the Warmoth green compares to the surf green of the Mexico version?
I'm not going into that, dude. I'm gonna get pitchforks and torches out on my doorstep talking about.
It's different, or close, or the same?
It's more vivid, I would say. It's more brighter. It has a little bit more vividness to it, or something like that. So I remember it definitely being brighter than the. I'm not gonna go into the colors of the green guitar.
Leave your comments below.
Exactly. But sourcing the parts for fun, because you don't realize how easy it is until you start doing it. And it's not a whole lot. And I'm saying that from someone that by no means am I luthier. No, by no means do I do this professionally. By no means am I even good at what I do, with this. But I do it to where I'm happy with it, which means the world to me, in a way. But at the end of the day, it's just a couple of pieces. Finding the pick guard could be harder than finding the pickup, or the wiring, or the bridge, or anything else like that. But just making sure that everything lines up, and making sure that you're wiring things correctly. I mean, the fun part about it was learning how to solder with a soldering iron and stuff like that, and learning through, again, Kenny, who I may mention a couple of times throughout this video, is once I would do my build, I would take them over to him and say, judge me, just judge me. And he would say, well, your soldering's kind of foggy. I could tell that your gun was a little bit too hot here. You kind of held it over here too long. And he could just immediately tell me what I was doing wrong. Hey, why'd you can kind of tuck these wires in this certain way to where you don't have the, and it was just learning everything. But to anyone out there that wants to build their own guitar, it's totally achievable. I think, Stefan, you said earlier on here that you have no clue where to even start or anything like that. It's funny. It starts with unscrewing those little screws on that pick guard behind you, and just checking out how one of the master builders did it,
Yeah. That's so true. That's one project or one thing I've committed myself to this year is buying just a cheap Squire and just modding it and doing everything myself. And if it fails, it fails, right?
Well, the fun part about that is
It'll fail.
I did well. It's funny, it will, because you'll buy American parts and then you'll realize none of the holes line up, and then you got to fill in some holes, and then you got to drill some new holes, and then your pick guard's crooked, and now you're mad, and then you just want to trash the whole thing. You know how I know
Most
that?
likely.
That's how I started too. so so it's trial by error in a lot of cases, you know, but learning how to do it in perfection and lining everything up. It's just, if I see a pick guard that's crooked, you know, it's a production, you know, Tom DeLonge made in Mexico, you know, style guitar, and the pick guard's crooked, it annoys the hell out of me, you know. So I'll always want to, you know, tweak it up just a little bit, or fill the hole and re-drill or whatever on that.
So yeah, again, so it looks like, so for everything that was on here, so you're able to source all the parts, you know, put it together. So how was the feeling after everything was put on, the strings were on, it's plugged into the amp, it's tuned up, it's good to go? How was the feeling once the Strat was officially done?
Oh, it's funny, and I'll back up a little bit before your true question, but it didn't work the first time I plugged it in, and that's the art of it. You know, I had it strung up, everything was perfect, beautiful, and that's whenever I learned to teach myself, after I wire the guitar up, to plug it in and tap the humbucker, just to make sure that something's getting through to it before you go and put the pick guard on, before you go and string it up, before you do everything, or else you'll be dropping F-bombs, you know, in your room or something like that. But no, once it was all said and done, and it was all hooked up and everything like that, I loved it. You know, it felt good. It sounded good. It sounded just like you would have, you know, an American-made, you know, Fender guitar and everything like that. The neck felt great. It was a Tom DeLonge neck that I'd used on it and everything like that. But it felt great. But I wanted more. You know, I wanted to do more. I wanted to learn more. And if you notice in that picture, I just kind of used the open body kind of, you know, all option Wormuth build. So I wanted to kind of narrow it down to a little bit more precision, or other pieces like that, to where I could learn how to wire just a little bit better. I know we're just playing with one pickup on this thing. It's not too complex. It's not like all the other ones, or an HSH or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I wired it up. It felt good, but then it sinks in of you can see my creative mind on the left with how I painted the Epiphone to just the standard green on the right, and it's just, it didn't gel with me. And so one reverb sale later, I was already looking for, you know, another project and stuff like that. And throughout this whole time, this is whenever John Poulin added Brian to the subreddit as well. And so Brian comes in with his knowledge of all these guitars and everything else like that. And I'm sharing pictures of Tom DeLonge. I look like a, you know, Tom DeLonge stalker, but I'm just trying to get people to the campfire, you know, just trying to get people to the campfire. Please share your builds, just please, you know. I want to see your pink, your red, your just brutal builds, or anything like that are beautiful to you, that are sacred to you, you know. And I want to see how you did it, why you did it, and go from there.
So, you know, we get through obviously the Strats, and you were saying that, you know, you wanted something more. So the next build that or the next project, I guess, I have here is the Billy Joe Armstrong. So now you're back to Gibson or Epiphone, right? And so this one is very, very unique.
Jackson, why the heck would you strip a white Billy Joe Armstrong Gibson? That thing is so rare. Please tell us why.
Because I have an asshole friend named Brian that challenged me to buy this and do this project, because he wanted to see someone revitalize this. It
was all beat up, right? I can't remember.
This was fun. I'll admit this was fun, and I know this is kind of Gear 182 and everything like that. But with Billy Joe Armstrong, this kind of guitar, I'd never had one before, and so I was like, I'm gonna buy an LPJ, and it's gonna be like a fixer upper, you know, and got it for a good price, of course. Look at it, in that top left picture on there, but this is where I kind of wanted to go back to the roots of let me just paint something cool. I remember seeing, I think, Billy Joe in like a concert with like an American flag on his guitar or something like that back in the day, and then I just remember having that in my head for the longest time. But I wanted something. The idea that I had a little bit more color to it. You know, it had a little bit more color to it. But once I stripped all the paint off all that white paint off the body and saw how beautiful the wood was, I was like, I can't cover all this wood up. That would be horrible if I did that. From there, so I think I had to get a custom pickup cut for that guitar, for that one. I stripped it down. I used like this orange citrus strip gel for that one, and it all came off easily. I had a little baby, you know, at the time doing this, and so I wanted something that you know wouldn't affect, you know, the smells or anything like that. And so I stripped all that off. I tried to keep everything as good as possible. And then I just went to town. I painted everything off. I blocked everything off and kind of did the American flag. I wanted it simple and easy. And then just layered just a protective coat over all that kind of stuff. I ordered the new knobs for it. Had a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't even remember which pickup was in that
So
one.
the black parts are paint, right?
Those are,
So-
yeah, that is paint.
Wow. So the stars, the part that's brown is where you had to tape, like, right?
So for the stars specifically, I used like a little template. So I punched out a bunch of stars on a little template. So the template was actually blocking that, and then I taped that off. So
And it
the
didn't
hope
bleed
there
through.
is that the template wouldn't raise up just a smidge to
Yeah.
where if I'm spraying, it gets underneath there. And so I got lucky. So
Wow. So none of the stars had like bleed or anything. It was just real clean. That's
Wow. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
and with this one, I probably played it for a couple of days, and it was heavier. It was a different style. It would, you know, I don't know. I like the 333s. I was used to 333s. I like the Stratocaster. I'm used to Stratocasters. I just wasn't used to a Les Paul in any way, shape, or form, or anything like that. And posted a few pictures on it, and what do you know? Green Day fans are just as vigorous as Blink fans, and this one was on a FedEx truck on the way to its to its future home. And the guy got it, received it, and said, "This is beautiful," and sent me a picture. I didn't send this to you, Stefan, but he sent a picture with his other 3 LPJs next
nice.
to this one as well. So, and they were all Billy Joe signature models that he had. So,
That's
All right.
crazy.
yeah, he
So
was
it-
thrilled.
So it came as like the white one on the top left, right? Like that's how it came to.
But
Wow.
the white, if I remember correctly, it wasn't like he destroyed a perfect white. I think it had a lot of flaws.
No,
right?
it was bad. You could tell that it was left in like a garage or something like that, or maybe even left on a wall, just hung out there. It wasn't even wired up. The neck, it's like they tried to sand the back of the neck down, or get the paint off themselves, and it's like they started the project but just never finished the project. And that's why I think Brian, that's why you said, hey dude, you can scoop this up for cheap, or something like that, because I didn't have any projects on my desk at the time.
They
I
were
was like,
saying like the case alone was worth like $400 or something.
yeah.
Because
But that was a fun one. This is another one that I had no experience with wiring up an LPJ. So this is one where you know I got to have fun with that. But then Kenny came in with his Superman S on his chest and made sure that everything was legit. Because that's my thing, is there are people out there that do this stuff in their basement. There's nothing wrong with that, but it may not be wired up correctly, or it may not be wired up professionally, or anything like that. And so if I wanted to sell this to another person, I wanted this to work just as good as it would, you know, for anyone else. And so that's why I mentioned Kenny, you know, multiple times, as kind of that Superman to come in here just to make sure that everything was legit and good and wired on that.
Yeah, this is I've seen this numerous times over either Reddit, even just from other people posting it, right? Like it definitely made its rounds. So then the next one that you kind of go into, I guess going back to Stratocasters, is a little bit different. More now, these are sparkle bodies. So
Yeah.
I went through a phase. I'll grow out of it, Mom. I'll grow out of it, Dad.
We started calling him the Sparkle guy. Like,
Yeah, I know. Sparkle
That's
Queen or something like that. But no, the sparkle ones were fun. And if you know what I have now, it's back here. I'll pick it up in just a little bit. The story is kind of funny of where I was satisfied with that one. But the sparkle started off as I had a black Fender made in Mexico Strat, Tom DeLonge Strat, you know, official Strat or whatever. And it wasn't in the greatest condition. It had a nick or 2 or 3, you know, on the body of it and everything else like that. The neck was fine, but it's funny now that I'm talking to y'all and thinking about it, a lot of this was just born out of boredom.
Well,
That's all that it was. It was just being bored and just
I
having.
love that you don't think about like, I'm gonna like collect this and keep it exactly the same so I can sell it later. You're just like, you know, I'm bored. I'm
Ooh.
gonna do something.
what color can I
You're touching
change it?
on- You're treading thin ice right there with that kind of comment. But it's funny because I used to be. I had a graffiti yellow that was beautiful, pristine, and a Daphne blue, beautiful, pristine. If anyone touched it, I'd I'd squeal and stuff like that, but I got over it. I sold them and I got over it. And it was one of those, like, guitars are meant to be played. I don't care who owned it, who did what with it or anything. They're meant to be played. They're meant to be showcased. They're meant to be out of their case. You know what I mean? And I know some people that store them in a closet in a land far, far away, and you'll never see them for 5 years and stuff like that. I know Stefan here is kind of like an archaeologist in finding a lot of those, but it's I think that they should all be played. So I used to be like that, but then I kind of evolved into where I'm at now, I guess. But yeah, this one was just a black Fender, and I did get some shit for it, but I sent it off to a guy named Marty Bell on the West Coast, and he's a phenomenal painter. I think he does paint for Fender, for maybe even Gibson. He's kind of a contractor that can do a bunch of stuff. He may have been in-house at one point in time. He lived in Texas for a little bit, and we lived in the same town for a little bit, with not knowing it, at the same at that. So he and I got on the phone, we started talking, and that's whenever I did that Galaxy Sparkle. I forget what it's called, like what Warmoth calls it, like hologram or holochrome or something like that.
Right.
I just call it like Galaxy paint because it's that black, but it has all those sparkles that just it was exactly what I wanted at the time, and he turned that thing around for me in about 3 weeks, and I got it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this was beautiful. He even put the ferrules in the back of it, which is string through body, and the ferrules, if you ask anyone, those are a pain in the ass. But I had it, and someone else wanted it more than I did, and so that was on a UPS truck, heading somewhere else to wherever land, and that's when that burnt orange sparkle came in. So I've always liked orange, like the orange of Tom's old cases behind you, Stefan. And this one that came in was more of a burnt orange for any college football US fans, like University of Texas kind of burnt orange color, but it sparkled vividly in like the sunlight. But as you can tell there, that's just a basic picture. And it was kind of just darker orange, and it bothered me the whole time. It was just nice, sparkly, burnt orange guitar, and so I actually took all the hardware out of that one, took the neck off of that one, and sold the body to someone. And that's whenever I ordered the blue one, the blue sparkle. And boy, that thing was bluer than anything. I was like the Caribbean Ocean or something like that. And it was loud. And I built that one, and I liked it for a while. And I think, Brian, you said, well, what's next, Jackson? And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Leave me alone. Let me enjoy this one for a little bit. And I think I had the 1969 custom shop neck slapped on that one too. That I liked it, but I liked it, but not enough to keep it. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are those kind of three. But I went through a phase, and it was just this sparkle phase that I just like sparkly guitars. I just thought they were cool. So
yeah, I mean, that's just with that, even that custom shop neck, that's crazy. So
yeah.
So we get some. So now, I mean, it's kind of gearing towards kind of the last part, I guess you can say. So it's so these would be kind of your current favorites. You can see kind of where the evolution went for the one in the top left, and then so maybe talk to us about. So these are your current favorite guitars that you have.
Absolutely.
That one though is one guitar, right?
Yeah, so in the top left, that is one guitar that evolved over the course of time, and it has a funny story. They actually kind of all do, except for the bottom one. The bottom one right there is the one that I have behind me. That's the main one, and that's kind of where it wraps in the sparkle of I finally got something that wasn't just too sparkled, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I got this from Third Story Guitars, Jack Strong. He painted this, baked it, whatever he did for it. And this is the current one that I have, that I put this all rosewood neck on, that I had to go buy.
So sick.
Yeah, I had to buy the whole guitar to take this neck off and then sell the body off. But a lot of people don't know is I filled in. It had two holes in it, but I filled that one in with rosewood dust and everything like that. Changed the string tree out, drilled new tuners for it, but then also put drilled out all the clay dots, and I put mother pearl in them as well. Woo. So it's kind of I kind of stepped my game up a little bit with this one. But the funny part is I've hit this thing multiple times and I don't care, and you're never gonna tell.
Yeah,
But that was kind of the conclusion to the sparkle era towards finally satisfied. I've always loved black. You know, this whole journey started off with me painting a guitar black, you know, and then I went through all the phases of everything. I've always loved rosewood. And now I ended up with a black guitar that has sparkles on it with an all rosewood neck, you know, and then the mother of pearl inlays and everything else like that. But no, that's my favorite. It's probably a keeper. It's just there's no intention of getting rid of that one, which is rare. You know, ask Brian. You know, it's rare for me. But
well, if you got rid of it, you just make another TD Strat. You're meant to have one.
I guess so. I think we all are. But the one from the top right of the screen right here with that beautiful, gorgeous maple neck that Brian hated. I made for who I thought was a friend. And
if I remember correctly, Jackson said I wanted to put you a TD neck on it, but I didn't want to give you mine.
Yes, that's fair. I'll change my story. An okay friend I built that for.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, it's through it's right behind Brian. It's standing up there, the Dark Knight Fender up there, and that one was more of a tip of the hat. You know, and I'm not here to kiss your ass. I hate you, but it was more of Brian's brain, the wealth of knowledge, everything like that, introducing me to you, Stefan, introducing me to a lot of people in the culture, and just being a real dude. If anyone ever messaged him anything, questions about Tom DeLonge gear, Tom DeLonge guitar, Blink-182, Mark Hoppus, just anything, he would always respond. And it's just in his brain and his heart just to help and everything like that. And there's not a lot of people in this world, you know, like that. And
very true.
But what I wanted to do is, while I was building guitars and stuff like that, is just make one for him that he didn't want to immediately sell. And that's the funny part about it. Because we both have that chemical in our brain to where, you know, how long are you going to hold on to this one for? I don't know. But no, I mean, with that, it's just, it was a fun build. I had Marty Bell paint it, and it was a rush build, so I had Kenny help wire that stuff up while I changed out. And here's the thing about the neck, is I changed out the 5th fret, the fret dot. I pulled out the clay, and then I put in a mother of pearl inlay on that one, the 5th fret, because Brian's birthday is on the 5th of November. Remember. So it was one of those to where as soon as he got it, he hated the neck, and he threw the neck away, and then slapped that ugly piece of shit on there, and
TD neck,
and went from there. But no, that was a super fun one, and I documented it the whole way just because it was a fun build, sourcing the shit, you know, working on the neck and working on this, working on that, sending it off to Marty talking with me, and Marty did that while he was still booked full on other guitars and stuff like that. So it was kind of a cool favor on that one, and it came out immaculate, basically, you know, just like the Fender paint would be. So that was a fun one.
Better, actually.
Yeah. And then the top left one, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the top left one is your son's, right?
It's sitting a room over, or it's hanging a room over in my son's room. He's 4 years old. And this was an interesting one. This was one where I had a Tom DeLonge neck. I've had a bunch of those throughout this time. I had a Warmoth body, and I had a good friend named John who liked to paint guitars and everything like that. And this is Little Red Guitars, John Puen. You may have seen the guitar all the way on the far left on his channel if you ever frequent that. I asked him to paint me a guitar. I said, look, I got spare parts. I got a bunch of stuff. You know how to paint. I just want to see something different or something. I've always liked a striped guitar and everything else like that. And I've always liked teal. You know, I've always liked teal. Let's experiment. If it works out great. If it doesn't, we're still friends at the end of the day, type of thing. And he took this one on, and this was more of, you know, not like a commission, but more of like just a doing something for a friend type of thing. And it turned out pretty dang cool, and the guitar sounded wonderful and everything else like that. But during shipment, it was during the winter. I remember it being during the winter time, and I think that the guitar was just beat so damn much in that truck over and over and over. It's whenever I got it, there were like some spider cracks in the finish, and it didn't cure long enough. And part of that's partially on me for being impatient and being like, just send it, dude, just send it, no worries. And other stuff like that. But I think that it got beat to shit in 0-degree weather and everything else like that, and I got it. It still looked fine. It had spider cracks on it and stuff like that, but I was like, what else could I do to this? What else could I do to this? And as y'all are starting to learn how my brain works, whenever I see a project, it just bothers me. And so I played with it for a little bit and everything like that, and then just put it away because I wanted to try something else with it. In the middle version of the guitar is whenever I was just trying the paint drip. I'd never done a paint drip before. Why not do it on a Strat? And I tried it the vertical way versus the way that he had his on his Gibsons, to try to do it on the horn up there, and used pink and white from it. And I know it's kind of a smaller picture, but it was a mixture of pink and white, and it was all on that. And I also torched it. I had a blowtorch, and I just went ham on it, and all sorts of other good stuff, and then rewired it up, hung it up, played it for a little bit. And I didn't like it, and I've always been a fan of, if you don't like it, change it. We're all in control of everything. And I remember my son would always migrate over to it, bright colors, and stuff like that, and strings, and anything that you don't want them to touch, they will touch. It's just it's built in them. And so he would always migrate over to it, and I was like, you know what, I want to continue working on this for that little dude right there, and that's whenever I got out the sandpaper and got out a couple other things and got out different cans of paint, and the blowtorch again, and kind of went to town on it and gave it more of a blue-esque, for a little boy or whatever. I left some of the pink hue on the back a little bit, but built that one up. I popped every single clay inlay out of it and put oh my gosh, what's it called? Is it abalone?
Abalone?
I think it's abalone or something like that. Abalone inlays in there. That was fun, and they look gorgeous on the thing. And fixed up the tuners, did the string tree, did the wiring, did this one 100% myself on that one. So it was 100% myself post receiving it from John, of course. But this was a really fun one, and it hangs up in his room, and he'll say, "Dad, can you get it down?" And he and I will kind of jam out, with those. He kind of sucks though, but he'll get better.
That's adorable. So that's where it sits now. Is that ever are we gonna see that one on Reverb, Jackson, one day, or what?
No. It's who would want to buy it, A. But B, a fun fact is, underneath the pick guard, I wrote him a note, for one day, if I'm no longer here, why I made this guitar for you, what I did, and it's taped underneath the pick guard. So whoever buys it from a pawn shop one day and opens it,
I checked for a note. I did not get one.
Nope. But whenever he grows up and needs to pay rent and sells it to a pawn shop, someone is going to get a sentimental note from me. So
yeah,
that's amazing.
Stefan, will you give me a note, please?
Absolutely, I will. So I mean, that kind of concludes, I guess, kind of where we're sitting. What's the future? Do you have any projects on the go? Are you thinking of any new projects? What's going through the brain?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Is somebody's gonna ask you, are you gonna do a Starcaster for fun? Fill the holes, make the caster. Tom, so do you like the Starcaster? Is it something?
I don't mind it. Once I saw that he had the kind of the Fender Strat's neck on it, I didn't mind him. I don't mind it. On that, I don't necessarily like the traditional Starcaster headstock or anything like that. It's just not my style, so I wasn't going to get on that bandwagon with it. But Tom, he has to be unique in his own ways with his guitars and stuff. So I like it. Have I thought about a project? No. It's once lockdown stopped and once the world started, and my kid's 4 now, and he takes up my energy, and weekends are full and nights are full and everything's going on that. It's the spare time, and stuff like that. So if anyone was like, "Hey, can you build me the answer's just gonna be no, at this point in time, unless it's someone I really know and I can source parts. I mean, that's the other part about it, is sourcing parts is also different. There's a different, it's a different game than what it used to be in a lot of cases and stuff like that. So, but who knows? I mean, you never know what the future holds for you. So,
and my last question is, do you have any guitars behind you can show off?
Yes. So the only official, I guess it's the official Tom. Is this Gibson right here? It's a little unique. As you can see, I've kept it in just absolute immaculate condition.
It's pristine.
It's not a scratch on it. It's mint. For all the collectors out there, it's minty fresh. But no, this one is and the neck. About that. The block inlays and everything else like that. So
so rad though.
This was
Have
a
you ever seen the
fun.
music video Love Drunk? There it is.
Where's my camera at? Can you even see that in there? Probably
Nice.
not. I don't know. Probably not. But I'm gonna damage the dang thing. But
Tell us
no,
about it.
it's that's my official one. And who that came? This guy named Martin Johnson. So during COVID, I was introduced to him through Brian, and I know it's all backwards. I'm sorry, it's mirrored. But through COVID, was introduced through him. He and I chatted quite a bit, and this is the second guitar that I bought off of him through that time. Very, very nice guy, but always responsive no matter what. And, how are the kids and how's the family type of thing. I think he's traveling across the world right now in like a camp or something like that. But yeah, he used to tour.
That's top one off, right?
It is. So his story with that one is he had to get approved. So the Gibson Custom Shop made him get approval from Tom DeLonge to make Tom DeLonge guitars on his behalf because he just liked them. I asked him, were you a huge fan or something like that? And he said, I just love the guitar. I love the look. It was all part of the what was going on at the time and everything like that. And it was just a phenomenal guitar. And so he had 3 that were made, this being one of them. There's a white one with kind of a gold stripe on it, and then another beautiful one that's black with a tan stripe on it from there. And these were the first 3 custom shop made guitars that weren't made for Tom DeLonge. That's one of those from there. And that's why they slapped on that 335 neck with the block inlays on it in that headstock and everything else like that. Sounds phenomenal, plays phenomenal. I've had some work done to it. He had it built for stage, stage play and everything like that. So he had it stuffed with certain things. He had this neat little, I've changed this ever since, but on this back plate here, he used to have, it was kind of cut in half, and there was a piece of tape right here, and there was a little pull right there to where he could stick his, what's it called, the battery pack thing or whatever it was on stage in there without it bounce around and hitting him in the hip or something like that.
Wow.
So he carried that in the guitar and stuff like that. But no, that's one of my favorites, and my son loves it too. But I think that's the only official Tom DeLonge guitar I have left in the quiver after going through 15 of them or so over the past couple of years.
It's crazy. So you've obviously played the TD Gibson. How does the neck? What neck do you prefer? Do you prefer the one that's on that one, or do you prefer the one that's on the 333?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard question. That is a hard question. Because the neck that he had on the other one, it was kind of sanded down. It was very similar to how Tom's Subsonic felt, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's how
Both of them.
Guitar behind you feels as well. But it was kind of a sanded down kind of neck, and that's just how I liked it because it was smooth. You don't have to worry about getting stuck or this or that or getting sticky or anything like that, especially if it's humid in Texas on that. So I just love a smooth neck on that. But I love the shape. I love how it plays, and it's quick. So
that's awesome. Well, I think that will conclude this one. We're gonna do a couple more of these. Like I think I said in the beginning, we are gonna do, I think, just a fun Reddit one of this as well, and pick our favorite builds that we've seen.
The last of Jackson.
But yeah, honestly, Jackson, thanks so much for making the time to come on and talk about your life as a Luther and all that fun stuff. As a wannabe. Well,
yeah.
Still,
the only thing that I have, I like to do this at the end and throw everybody off. Jackson, hold something up to the camera, something random, like a toy, something bizarre that people are going to be like, why does he have that on his desk?
Oh, so this is my little, my own creation of the Lego Mandalorian scene whenever Luke Skywalker comes to go save little baby Yoda. So I bought like 3 sets and then modded them and created this one scene right here. So this sits on my desk.
Excited for season 3?
Yeah. So and aside from that, my son's Valentine's ducky.
Nice.
That can get killed by Luke right there.
I love it.
Nice. You excited for season 3?
I am.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I don't have anything cool. What do you have, Stefan? I don't have anything.
I mean, I guess in the theme of Star Wars, I have a Darth Vader Goofy.
There you go. Darth Goofy.
There it is. That's it.
All right.
What did you have, Brian?
I just had sunglasses. I don't think I have anything cool.
Lame.
Seems pretty boring, just in general.
There you go. My Nintendo ruler.
That's actually pretty cool. Okay, that's
What'd you just use that for?
That was before we started recording,
There you go.
But anyways, Stefan, take us home.
all right, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. Do the whole like, share, subscribe, fun stuff. If you have any questions for Jackson, if he's got some time to answer some of the comments, drop them below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.
Cool.
Bye.